What if I told you that the key or one of the key components to manifesting your dream life starts with getting to know the absolutely most important person in your life, which is you? Today, I'm talking about how morning pages can help you connect with yourself and amp up your manifesting as well. So, in this episode, we're going to explore how morning pages can help you not only ditch and get rid of the mental clutter, but also develop this relationship with yourself so that you can start showing up as the person living the life that you envision and maybe have created on your vision board. Hello and welcome to this episode. I'm Pati, coach, uh, host, and rockin' Rebel Witch here at Rockstar Manifestors podcast. And we are diving into morning pages and manifesting and how they work together. And of course, I will throw in some ideas, maybe suggestions, tips, whatever you want to look at them as, for ways to make it your own, to personalize it, to try different ways so that it becomes something that actually benefits you. Because I am a true believer that for things to actually show benefits or you see results from things, you really have to stick with it for the long term. And the way that I see it to do that is to find a way and tweak it and kind of mold it so that it fits you, your personality, your lifestyle, just you overall. So if you are not familiar with morning pages, it is a practice from a book called The Artist's Way. Artist's Way. I will link that around somewhere around this episode if wherever you're listening to or watching it, so you can check it out if you're not familiar with it. The author, oh my goodness, I believe is Julia Cameron. I know Cameron is the correct last name, but I'm pretty sure it's Julia Cameron. And she wrote this book over 20 years ago, and it's still very relevant. And one of the reasons that I'm bringing this to you now is because I'm actually listening to the book, and it is a several week process. It walks you through week by week exercises and activities to do. And one of the core elements of the Artist's Way is the morning pages. So, morning pages, very briefly, are 3 pages. Three written, handwritten pages of stream of consciousness writing. And she recommends, or morning pages, or the book suggests you do them first thing in the morning when you wake up. And I suggest you try this if this is something that is available to you, if you can get some few extra minutes in the morning. And if it does not work for you, or if you know right off the bat, then do it in the evening. Do it in the afternoon and do kind of like try it out to see what time of the day works best for you. Because really, yes, it's important, morning pages, it's called that because they are designed to be done in the morning, but they're not going to do you any good if you force yourself or if you start morning pages and then don't stick with them. So really just find a time, and this may take trial and error. So please understand that. And don't say, oh, this is shit, it doesn't work for me, or I can't do it. It might take a little bit of time to develop and find, and also develop the habit of sticking with it to find really what works best for you. So 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing, where you write like whatever comes up in your brain, whatever you think about. It doesn't have to make cohesive sense at all. It's simply just allowing what is within you or what is being delivered to you, by source or spirit or however you see that, and let that come through in your writing without planning what you're going to write, and just getting into the habit and practice of letting that come through, whatever it is that may be. And know that it will not be the same every time. There will be days where you have like profound insights, and then there will be days that your entire 3 pages I don't know what to write. This is taking too long. Nothing's coming to mind. There will be a mixture of those, of both and everything in between. So this process, and again, I'm going to share some ways that I kind of personalize it and, give you some ideas as well. But this is a ritual or a practice, whatever resonates with you, to help you really connect with yourself, uncover your thoughts, connect with and identify and process your feelings, let your dreams kind of bubble up to the surface and come out on paper, and also to address your limiting beliefs. You might not even know what they are, but this process will identify those. It will bring those up. And the book is like a workshop. So it gives you specific steps to do if you want to try the workshop way. If you are like me, I dove into Morning Pages long before I ever read or listened to the book. So it's not like you have to read the book to try it out, but it gives you more structure. It gives you an actual plan to follow, and the author walks you through the process of a several week program and how to implement this. So there's a lot more in the book, whether you listen to it or do audible like I do. So it serves the purpose of accomplishing several things. Like I said, brain dumping, getting and connecting with your feelings, your dreams, your limiting beliefs. So you're peeling back layers and you're allowing things to come up to the surface that, are revealed to you, or that, you're actually revealing to yourself through your writing and what you're receiving from source. So morning pages are a great way of understanding and getting to know who you really are. It's a wonderful process to really filter out whether the things that you're wanting in your life, your dreams, are yours genuinely, or if they're dreams, expectations, ideas, whatever it is, pursuits that are coming from other people, because they think it would be great for you, or it's something that you have your entire life believed or thought or expected that this is what your life was going to look like. And this is a wonderful process for really filtering through that and getting to know yourself and what it is that you really want. Do you really want, the corporate job? Do you really want the technical job? Do you really want these things that you thought you did and maybe have been working towards out of expectation, obligation, or just habit, because that's what you always, what has always been the case as far as you're aware of. So it's a really deep practice. And if it's something that hooks you, it will be something that you do on an ongoing basis. I would, like I'm still in the process of it, and I see myself doing this indefinitely, forever. Now, might there be periods of time where I stop, or where you stop, or there's some days that you miss? Yes, but I can already see that diving into morning pages before I ever read the book, it is still something I kept coming back to. And now that I'm learning more about the author's intent and how it was developed, it really is something that I see myself doing ongoing, forever, in some form or fashion, or at least always regularly coming back to it. So just give yourself grace. Let this be an experiment. See if you do love it, if it does hook you, and give it a try. Give it a fair shake. And also, if it doesn't resonate right now, maybe try it again in a quarter or 6 months or a year. Give it some time to kind of settle, or maybe just pop up at the next right time in your life. There is no wrong time to start it, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say there. So morning pages, and before I get into how, working with morning pages for manifesting, I am going through the Audible version, and I'm doing it with a friend. So we're doing it in tandem. And at the end of each chapter, they go by weeks, like week 1, week 2. It gives you activities and some suggested exercises to do. And so morning pages is 3 pages of writing, 3 full pages of handwritten, not on the computer and not dictating, although I don't know if you could know how long a page is if you're dictating it, but 3 pages of written writing. And if a full-size notebook or a full-sized binder or whatever sheet of paper feels too big for you, start small. Start with a little pocket-sized notebook or something that's mid-size, like bullet journal size. 3 pages can be 3 pages of whatever size paper you have. 3 full-size pages of a notebook felt really long for me, even though I really enjoy writing. So I started smaller. And right now, what kind of has been my comfort zone that I find a good size is like the bullet journal size books. I don't know what that is. There's like a number like A6 and B9. I don't know. I think maybe it's A5 somewhere in there. But the bullet journal size books is where I have found my sweet spot. Maybe will I move up sometime? Maybe not. So just know that that's one way of starting small, building on this practice, and not diving in expecting yourself to be, at the highest level when it's something that might be brand new to you. Start with a small little notebook. And if that's too small, try the next size up. Again, everything I'm talking to you about, find ways of adjusting it. What is it when you do exercise and they give you like the full expression and modifying is the word, like modify it and try it different ways. Get creative and don't get too caught up on the technicalities of it. There is always a way to make something, to try new ways and see what does work for you. So how morning pages help you build a relationship with yourself. When you put pen to paper, when you start writing what is coming through you, what thoughts you are having, this is the very first thing that I think happens is that you start actually realizing the thoughts that you're having. Yes, we are aware of a lot of the thoughts that we have, but there are so many that run on autopilot in the background, in the undercurrent, because we've had them for so long. Either we learned them from someone else or we developed them on our own based on experiences we had and stories that those experiences created. So this process will actually most likely reveal thoughts and beliefs that you have that you might not have consciously been aware of. So the subconscious, the really deeply encoded thoughts and beliefs and thought patterns and stories will come up, even if it doesn't happen right away. So that you start to get to know yourself that way, like, wow, these thoughts that I did not realize I have are actually, they have been the operating system that has been, what everything has been filtered through so far. And you also, I referenced it earlier, you start to get honest with yourself about your dreams and desires and ambitions and whether you really want them or not. One of the biggest insights that I had in relation to this topic of what are the things I really want or didn't want, one of the biggest revelations I had was that I used to beat myself up and say, why can't I, succeed at what is expected of me? Like, going to college. I did not go to formal 4-year college. And, getting the job and doing the things in this supposed chronological order. And I reference this a lot. I mention this a lot. This insight that I had, this aha moment was, it's not that I was failing at living up to the expectations that I had for myself based on what I was guided to or what I thought was what my life should look like. I realized that it felt so uncomfortable. It felt so like ick in the sense like it just didn't fit because it's not that I couldn't live up to others' expectations. I was actually trying to force myself to live down to the expectations they had because mine my authentic, genuine ones that come from me are actually much bigger. And that's not a criticism on the people that were guiding me and saying, this is a good path for you, be that counselors at school, teachers, family members. They were coming from a place of meaning well. They did not have my desires. They did not have my thoughts, and they don't have my emotions. So that aha came from this process, and like, oh my God, I'm actually trying to live down. And that's why it feels like such a battle, because I want to be flying and, going this high and higher. And what they're asking or kind of suggesting is like very much lower, like, lower to the ground, not so, or more contained than what my desires are. And I'm still in the process of, pursuing those and getting clearer on them now. And I think that will always be an ongoing process as well. So that's what I say. That's really what I'm talking about when I say getting to know yourself, your desires. And this self-awareness is critical to manifesting, because when you're putting all this energy into manifesting something that is not your genuine desire, yes, you can absolutely do it, but then you get there and you're like, oh my God, this sucks. Or you're like not fulfilled in any way because they haven't been your genuine desires. So if you don't know what you really want or who you truly are, you're manifesting others' expectations, or even what you think you should be wanting, or what you think you should be manifesting and creating in your life. So it is really getting to know your genuine desires, your genuine loves and interests, and things that just bring you to life instead of just going through the routine and the motions because it's familiar. It's been expected, out of obligation, whatever circumstance, whatever aspect of that might be the one that fits with you, or something completely different, but along those lines where it's not coming directly from you. So through this practice, you also, as you get to know yourself, you start to show up differently. You start to identify, hey, this person or the version of me that is living that life does these types of things, lives life in this certain way, uh, does these types of practices in their life, and you start to do them now. And that's one of my key messages, is to become the person first that is living that vision board life in order to attract it, in order to attract the opportunities, in order to manifest it much more easily than trying to force it by focusing on the details. Focusing on yourself is really the key to all things, right? What you want, what you can do, what you can control, all the things. And so by getting to know yourself, you start to show up as yourself and that person living those lives. So Morning Pages allows you to develop this most important relationship that you'll ever have. I see it. I really do believe that the relationship we all have with ourselves is the absolute most important relationship, because it truly is the only relationship that is lifelong. We have people in our lives for the majority of our lives, for maybe almost all of our lives, but the relationship we have with ourselves is truly the only one that is fully and genuinely a lifelong relationship. And you can start embodying what I refer to as that rock star version of yourself. And that doesn't mean you have to want to be a musician or even in the public eye. It's that energy of being a rock star, and I get what I want, and I know what my dreams are, and I'm gonna go after them no matter if other people get it or support me or not. Because by doing that, you do attract the people that get it and that will support you along the way, and be an aid, an aid to your journey, a really cool part of your journey. So there we go. That's getting to know yourself. And so now I'm going to walk you through some very general steps of how to use morning pages and for manifesting and self-knowledge. And again, this is very bare bones because that way you can build on it, you can modify it and tweak it for yourself. But if you are like me, and I tend to attract people that have similarities to my experiences as well, a completely blank slate is harder for you, might be harder for you than having a framework to start with and then personalizing that for yourself. That's what I found, at least so far. And, I would spend hours on trying to start things from scratch and really having a framework and saying, yes, this works, or that doesn't work, or maybe I'll change this, really is a much better process for me, at least so far and at this stage in my life. So I'm going to provide that for you if that's what you're looking for as well. So one is commit to starting. Decide on a start date. It doesn't have to be the first of the month or the first of the week or whatever. This podcast comes out on Wednesdays. Start today. If you're hearing this, start tomorrow. Start, pick a day to start, and a time that at least right now you believe and at least have a most have a belief. What is, it's not, is belief the word I'm looking for, that you know that you'll be able to stick with it. Don't do it when it's a crazy time of day. Try the morning if that's available to you. If it's not, try the evening and give it some time and see what does work for you. Also, consistency ideally for this practice is every day. But again, if you're just starting, maybe you start once a week. Maybe you start 3 times a week. You can tie it. If you've ever heard of habit stacking, if there is a time that you have that's a little mellow, maybe you can add morning pages onto that. If you're someone that has time to drink coffee, sit and have a cup of coffee or tea or whatever in the morning, maybe you try it at that time. Maybe you have a lunch break to yourself, or you can be in your car and have a lunch break if you work outside of the home, and you can try that. Stacking it with something that you're already doing that might have a bit of wiggle room or some time where you can try that. So step one is to decide when you're going to start and what your consistency is going to be to get started. Remember, you can build on this and it will evolve over time. You don't have to go in and expect to be successful at 100%. We start in baby steps and make much more progress doing it that way. So commit to start and what level of consistency you're going to start with. And step 2 is let go of expectations. We are so hard on ourselves and we have this expectation of perfection and doing it perfectly and well and sticking with it right from the beginning. The point is not to be perfect. The point is to learn about yourself, get to know yourself. And this comes to the writing as well, to what you actually write on your page. Let go of those expectations and don't have a prescribed idea of what you think you're going to write about. Truly write what pops into your brain. And the more you do this, I promise you, you will create the space to just let things will come automatically. But you have to start somewhere. So let go of the expectations. The point is to write something, not for it to be good. No one is going to read it. These are not designed to be shared. They are for you and your process, your journey, and being honest with yourself. So keep that in mind as well. Number 3, use morning pages to reflect on your desires. So initially, the process might be truly getting out what's on your brain, your to-do lists, the things that you have to get to this week, the things that you forgot before, the thoughts. If you listen to the past few episodes, I talk about thoughts being kind of like a tornado, and they come around and then they go back and you forget about them and then they come back around again. So jot down all those thoughts and to-dos and all the mundane things, like just a true, honest brain dump. And then after the brain dump, you could start with, how do I want to feel today? Thinking about that, or even writing that out on the page and answering that question. You could write, what do I want today? Like, what do I want to accomplish? What do I want to to have? What do I want from today? So these are just ideas. The one I think is all encompassing because it leads to setting an intention. The way that I work with setting intentions is asking yourself, how do I want to feel? But again, modify it. What do I want today? If that resonates better with you, go with that. Um, how can I show up as the person who's already living my dream? This is where it starts to get fun as well, because how does that future version of me spend a day? These are things that you can ask yourself about and then just let stream of consciousness come. And if you've been around for a while, you may remember that I also talk about scripting as a journaling method where you intentionally write out the script of the dreams and desires you have. This is not that type of writing. This is not that type of how my day is going to play out exactly, but how you want to feel, what you see yourself. Just allow those thoughts to come up. There is a distinction, and scripting is a lot more intentional about what you write, and morning pages is definitely much more what is coming up as I'm writing, as I'm putting this pen to paper and not having thought about it ahead of time. And then step 4 is track your growth. You can go back and look at your morning pages. Just because they're not for other people to read doesn't mean that you can't go back and read them and check on yourself and see how you used to think about things versus how you're thinking about things now, and how certain things might have really upset you before, but you're noticing now that it's not so upsetting. And something that was hard to talk about or even write about and brought up emotion when you wrote about it, now is not such, it doesn't come up as emotion. You can simply tell the story matter of factly without having that come up, and realizing that growth and that process is really empowering, because that's really documenting your growth and how your thought processes are changing, how you approach things are changing, your dreams and how you show up are changing, and you get to see that through your writing and your lens, not someone else's lens, by going back to revisit and read your own writing, your own thoughts. And so it's not about clearing the mind, and it's not about scripting and in exact detail. It's about allowing your genuine thoughts, your genuine desires, your operating system, those thoughts that have been operating your life on autopilot without you realizing it. And because I am who I am, and if you are new here, you will find out that I try to incorporate music in most things that I do. I have a manifesting songs playlist. If you have not gotten that yet, it is free to download. The information will be somewhere around this, where you're listening to or watching this as well. But try putting some music on when you're doing your morning pages. Maybe it's something that you do in those days or on those days where you don't know what to write about. And then you can play some music, and a thought that pops in your brain or an emotion that comes up from the music itself or from the lyrics or whatever the case is. Just write what comes up. That having music playing in the background or starting to play music if you're truly feeling stuck is a way to engage both parts of your brain and to give you a starting point. Like, I hate this song, or I love this song, or this song reminds me of that, or, oh, that beat is really good. Believe me, things will come from that. So you don't have to have a specific word prompt to help your writing. You can simply listen to music and write what immediately comes to mind when that music starts playing and as it continues to play, because music is like a direct line to your emotions. You can use it intentionally, like if you want to feel happy, or there are those occasions where we want to feel sad to get something out and purge it, cry it out of our system, and music can help us do that. Music and sense, I think, are one of those like straight lines to emotions and memories as well. So try playing some music and simply write what comes to mind when you start hearing it. And try, a way to personalize this as well is pick some songs or some music that you used to love as a kid, in your teenage years or whatever time frame that you started choosing the music you're going to listen to, right? Versus what your parents listen to. And I'm not saying that the music your parents listen to is not great. I love all genres of music, from what I chose and what I heard before. But when you start developing your own identity, I think music is a key indicator of that. When you start, choosing the concerts you want to go to, the albums that you want to buy, and I'm dating myself probably by saying albums, but try to think back to that time frame and the music that really spoke to you, and have that as an option, or create a playlist of your, the soundtrack of your life, and pop that in every now and then to either give you inspiration to write or to freshen up your morning pages routine. So I shared how this house has helped me, and I would love to hear if you either want to share in the comments if they're available where you're watching this or listening to it. And also you can go to the Moon Manifest. No, what is it? Rockstar Manifestors is the podcast. And I am drawing a blank, my goodness, on my Facebook page, my Facebook group. My Facebook page is Blue Moon Manifestations. And I renamed my page. And as I'm doing this, I'm having one of those, what did I tweak it down to? And because, we have technology available to us, I can't pull that up, but share with us manifesting rock stars. See, it's just a play on words. That's the name of the group, Manifesting Rock Stars. And I just tweaked it from the podcast, which is Rockstar Manifestors. I like words, but every now and then they get me in trouble. It's my own doing. So I shared how I've had some insights and ways that I have used and continue to use morning pages. And I would love to hear your experiences. You can tag me or just share in those spaces, like I told you that I referenced, and we'll link around this for you. And just know that once you really do start getting to know yourself and know yourself honestly and deeply, you start manifesting with confidence, because once you know that your desires are genuinely yours and you have that emotional connection to those desires, then that's where the magic opens up, and you're like, holy shit, this happened so fast, or it was so easy, or even if it took a long time, it's like everything just laid into place perfectly, and you start to become aware of that. And so you then amp up and develop that manifesting muscle and your manifesting confidence. So I invite you to start today or tomorrow, or at least put it on the calendar, a day that works for you, and share. If you want accountability, share in the group, the Manifesting Rockstars group, and share your journey along the way. Because I love journaling so much, I always have something journaling related available, and that is a 30-day challenge that I developed that you can start again at any time. And if you want to start morning pages with the challenge, that would be absolutely perfect. It is 30 days of prompts, and because you get lifetime access to it, to the material, you could do 30 days of morning pages using the ideas in the challenge for each day to write about or to inspire your writing, but again, not make it prescriptive. They are open-ended and invite you to just let it go, let it flow, if you will, on to the page, and you will find that information linked around here as well. And it's called the Manifesting Me with Music journaling challenge. It's 30 days of prompts, and you can revisit it at any time. And I typically once a quarter will actually run that challenge live, where I have go live and interact with you guys in a live stream. And whenever you get the challenge, you automatically have access to that because you have access to all materials associated with the challenge as soon as you get them. And so remember, final thoughts are, remember that manifesting starts with knowing who you are and what you want based on how you want to feel. And morning pages are not just to set the tone for your day, you're actually deepening the relationship with yourself and you're strengthening it, and thereby also strengthening your manifesting muscles and your manifesting confidence. So I can't wait to hear your experiences, your thoughts, and look for the info of all the things I referenced somewhere around this podcast episode. And I will see you guys next week. Take care.